Hello everyone, this is Rachel here, the Modern Shaman. Thanks for being with me for another YouTube video of the week. If you guys are new to my channel or you've never checked it out, I would love for you to hit the like button, to subscribe, to click on that bell to get notifications every time I do a video, which is once a week. Typically on Tuesdays. I try to relay these messages on Tuesdays. Tuesdays are my video day. I also would love for you to check out my website, which is themodernshaman.net. Those of you guys that have been with me for many, many years know it just got a new face on that website. And I love it. It's very succinct, it's very user-friendly, and just easy to navigate. So you can contact me, connect with me, find out more about sessions on there, as well as my masterclass and my spiritual entrepreneurship program. Also, if you guys are not on my newsletter, the newsletter is where I send out all the discounts and kind of happenings of where I'm going to be, what I'm doing, and if there's any specials going on, particularly this November, because every November I have the once a year sale. I don't do sales, but I do them, this discount. It's the Black Friday month sale. So I do it all of November, and it's practically like 50% off all of my sessions and bundles. So it's a huge deal, just like Black Friday deals are. Big discount, and if you're on the newsletter, you know all about it. If you're not on the newsletter, you get on that through the website. So go on the website, go to that contact form at the very end. There's sections to join the newsletter, to send in a YouTube question for this channel, and just to contact my team if you have questions about helping to set up or schedule or anything, really. So all that's available at themodernshaman.net. Okay, let me read the question for today. I said, "Hi Rachel, I am a longtime viewer and client, and I want to first say thank you for doing this channel. I used to watch your Facebook lives with your kids." Wow, you've been here with me for a while, because I haven't even done that for maybe 2 years. Before COVID, even probably before that, maybe it's been like 4 years since I've done I used to do, not YouTube, I used to do Facebook lives with my kids. And that was my son's idea, actually, my eldest son. And then, like all ideas that fade out with kids, they grow up and get interested in other things. But that's awesome that you were there with us. I love knowing that. Okay, where was I? I know you don't do those anymore, but I wonder if, as a parent, you could answer this question. What do you feel like is the most important thing we can teach our children about the spiritual world? Much appreciation, love, and light. Wow. That's a big mama question. Yeah, I'll answer that. You know, it's funny, even before I had kids, you know, there's such a disconnect in theoretical questions, right? Or like hypotheticals before you're actually a parent. And then when you are a parent and you feel the responsibility of training up a child and preparing them, and man, that question takes on a lot more weight and reality to it. I've been on both sides, because if you've been with me for a while, you probably know this about me already, but I was a teacher in the school system, both in the private sector and the public sector, before I started this work. And so I've worked with kids, and my heart for kids, and to help kids, and to train kids, and to be there as kids are developing, and to mentor and model and inspire has always been there, always been in my heart. I mean, even when I was a teenager, I was one of those kids as a teenager that was like the coach of the littler team. You know, I was on a competitive cheerleading team, and I was coaching the elementary school team. And then when I went to high school, I would coach the junior high team. And then when I went to college, I would coach the high school teams. And then when I went beyond, then I became an instructor to teach college teams. So I was always kind of trying to help shape and navigate and inspire and encourage those underneath me or younger than me. So, and then it hasn't changed as an adult having children. It's just gotten more complex. That's a nice way to say it. And the more kids I have, because now I have 5, the more complex I think that question gets, or the more nuances. I don't mean complex as in difficult. I just mean intelligent, with varieties of answers. So I'm going to tell you a story, because this question makes me think of a story. And it starts, I don't even know how old I was. It was in my 20s. And I was teaching, and this time I was teaching at a private Christian school in Southern California. And one of the classes that I taught was an AP English class. And we did journal activities. You probably did these in many of your English classes too. I was that English teacher, okay? And I loved this activity, first of all, because it was probably the most transparent and honest the kids were with me, because it's singular, it's kind of like a diary, and I would read them once a week and respond. And there was always a prompt, but then the kids could also write about things that weren't on the prompt if they needed to release or tell me something personal or wanted it, But anyways, I don't remember the prompt, but there was one particular day, and I had a student who will remain unnamed, but she was a very high-achieving student in my class, probably had like a 99 in my class, and my classes were hard. I wasn't an easy teacher. I was very strict and kind of demanding of my students. I held very high expectations of them, always tried to help them get there. But anyways, she was a very high-achieving student. As far as grades went and being on time and just doing everything she could to do well. And I remember the prompt had something to do with spirit, because this was a Christian private school. I could ask stuff about their spiritual walk and about God and how they felt about different things. And I remember her answer terrified me, because she had such a pure heart. And basically her answer in this prompt, and I'm going to summarize, but it basically said that she just wanted, in her faith, she just wanted someone to tell her what to do that was going to get her to heaven, that was going to make her have a good life, and she would do it. Period. And something in my bones, in the like marrow of my bones, just like shook when I read that, because I realized, and I knew this person as so high achieving, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is like, it would be so easy for this person to fall into like a cult, or to fall under the heading of some leader, and just want in their sincerest of heart to do what that leader believes or tells them is the right thing to do, or what that religion tells them is the right thing to do, or what that politic tells them is the right thing to do. And all will be well. Like as if their heart and their very peace in their heart depended upon them following orders. And that's where they got their peace from. And I believe the question had something to do with how do you recognize the Holy Spirit or the voice of God telling you what to do as right and what's wrong, especially in areas in that age in high school that where there's peer pressure or where the line may be kind of muddled, where some people culturally think one thing is fine and others don't, or even within certain religions there are soft lines. There are those that are more fundamentalist and those that are, And I realized at that moment, I thought, you know what? The most important thing for a young person to learn in their spiritual walk is the sound of their own higher guidance. To know what that sounds like. To know that voice, to know it aside from all other voices, and to recognize that that is a valid and important director in my life. And I need to check all decisions with that countermeasure, put it on the scale of my own heart and my own conscience and my own Holy Spirit or my own higher self or my own inner guidance system, and see how it weighs out. And if you don't know the sound of that voice, you're lost. And alone, or you feel alone. You're not alone. But I feel like that is so important for each child. And as we're going, as adults, that's important. If you didn't get it as a child, learn it now. It's always now. But asking that question, and I think now that I'm a parent, there's a lot more to that. Like there are a lot of other things that I feel like are important, but I feel like for the steering of your own soul, if you don't recognize and know how to identify your own guidance system telling you what is right for you, what is not right for you, whether that feels or sounds or smells or tastes a certain way to you, you've got to be able to recognize that. And I think teaching our children is first asking them that question. How do you know what to do when your parents aren't around, when there's no rule book for right or wrong situations? How do you know what's the right thing to do and what's the wrong thing to do for you? Not a rule around it. How do you know? And then the discussion, and I've had this discussion many times with my kids at different points, and the discussion will go something like this. Well, I just felt bad. Okay, this is with my 8-year-old. This is what that conversation will sound like. She'll say, well, I felt bad about it. I didn't feel right. It made me feel sad. Okay, so emotional based, right? Something in her heart felt like that's going to cause pain, or that's going to cause separation, and I don't want that. And then having the parent say, listen to that, follow that, no matter what, if the rules say so or not, because this is the rule of your own heart, and this is who you have to live with in this life and all others. This is what you live as. This is your own experience of being in this consciousness. So listen to it. And you have to keep kind of reminding them of that voice, because as they get older and they get a little bit more intelligent, that conversation sounds different with my 13 and 14-year-olds and my 18 and 22-year-olds. So then there's this conversation of dialogue about it. About, well, I know that this is probably what I'm supposed to do, or what society tells me I should do, or what everyone else is doing, but that just doesn't feel right for me. And I've had that conversation. And then I've said, okay, so listen to that. And it's not about, that doesn't feel right for me because I'm scared. It's not, those are my fears. That's another thing, is helping them differentiate that when they get older, right? What are your fears and your anxieties versus that you may need to slowly expose yourself to, right? Kind of exposure of getting over those anxieties and fears versus where is your higher guidance saying, no, this is not you. And this is not right for you. And how do you choose that? And letting them know and asking these questions, because it will sound different for me than it sounds for them. And the same with you and your children. I have a very loud voice and my higher guidance that talks back to me. And I never had a problem with that. Like, growing up in the Christian community and hearing that phrase, like, your relationship with God needs to be personal. I was like, I had no problem with that. My relationship is very personal. I pray, I hear God talk back to me. I ask something, I hear something back. I'm conversational in the spiritual realm. I'm conversational when I pray for certain people that have passed. I hear their voices still. I never had a difficulty with that personal relationship. Some people do, because they're not as clairaudient or clairsentient or clairvoyant. They don't get the imagery or the sounds. So they have to go based on a knowing, and you as a parent, the guidance to like really pay attention to that and notice how their soul is speaking to them about what is a right and what is a wrong for you, a yes and a no, and like getting to know that conversation and that voice. And then helping them get the strength, which at the beginning is little wobbly baby legs, right? Just like a toddler when we're first walking in the confidence of what our soul is telling us. And recognizing like, okay, I'm taking the steps. This is what we call independence and individuality of like, this is what I want to do. And it's little things at the beginning. This is how I want to dress. This is how I want my hair. These are the musical choices that I enjoy. It's little things at the beginning of like this. It's not just about expression. It's about the reality that expression is true for me. So these are things that as a parent seem different than the rest of the world, and that they are not afraid to be different because they recognize that there's something in there that feels uniquely them. And it feels better to be in alignment with that than to follow. And to recognize that alignment, to recognize the voice, and then stepping with those toddler legs at the beginning into the expression of that voice. Now, it doesn't mean they have to say it. They may show it more than they speak it if they're not as vocal or articulate yet. But that's what I truly feel is the most important thing that we can teach them spiritually beyond any particular dogma or practice. I think it is the practice of knowing your own voice and walking in it. And your own voice is not who you are. Like, I don't mean identity. I mean your soul's guidance, this what is called the Holy Spirit, what is called higher consciousness, what is called higher self, what is called God, angels, this sense of beyond this realm. There is something that permeates and that knows all things and that sets me right when I am in connection and listening and walking in alignment with it. So I hope that's a blessing to you. I will be back next week with another video. Bye, you guys.